1.1.1 update is already up and came up with a lot of changes and balances to the table. However, among the latest additions, what shines the most is the awaited Lucilius raid, a level 200 raid that rewards players with a new sigil line that can substantially increases our offensive prowess. However, this raid can be difficult if it's going to be your first time, and don't worry about that. I am the Samurai, and in this video, I will be breaking down all of Lucilius' attacks and mechanics concisely for you to be equipped in the upcoming fight and ultimately save time and farm the latest sigils available. Now moving on to the actual fight, and first things first, I will be breaking down his attacks according to the order of the fight. In this manner, you will know what to expect. Starting with the first attack, and this is by far his most difficult mechanic of all, which is Paradise Lost. In this major mechanic, Lucilius will spam lasers that become damage puddles on the ground, along with long laser beams that comes from different directions. This mechanic is the cause of party wipes in most cases. To survive this, simply avoid the puddles by staying on the move and running across the arena. However, the tricky part is the straight laser beams that randomly spawns out of nowhere. Dodge this by observing the arena around you and observing the purple lights that shines on the arena. From where the purple light shines, this indicates where the laser beams will come from. These lasers can easily one-shot players, and it is pretty hectic if you don't know what to do. Or your party can easily survive this mechanic if Bane is around. Using Rampart will save the party in the entire duration of the Paradise Lost, so Bane users will surely shine again in this raid. Now after the first Paradise Lost, he will start using his normal attack combinations, and I will also do a quick breakdown for each and every one of them. The first one is Heavenly Orbs. Lucilius will pull the entire party towards him and summon a magic circle above our heads and rain down orbs. To dodge this attack, do a perfect dodge when the orb hits or dodge towards him, since the inner sets of orbs near Lucilius will drop first. Note that these orbs can inflict SBA sealed status effects, so keep that in mind. The next attack on the list is Spreading Orbs. You can easily determine this attack if Lucilius pushes all of you away from him, and after this move, he will unleash the Spreading Orbs. Like the first attack, simply dodge towards him and you can easily survive this attack. Moving on to the next attack, which is Heavy Sword Rush Swings. This attack starts with a shockwave, and later on Lucilius will gap close to the target and deal heavy sword swings. This attack deals a lot of damage, but one can easily dodge this since Lucilius tends to target a single entity while doing this. Get around him and deal damage on his blind sides to avoid the attacks. On to the next attack, which is Donut AoE Sword Flurries. You can determine that Lucilius will do this attack if his swords will slowly spin around him, and this means that he is ready to deal with a wide AoE sword slashes. The safe spot are either outside of the AoE range, meaning you will disengage from Lucilius as far as you can, or dash towards him since the actual location of Lucilius is a safe spot, making a donut shape attack, hence the name, and FF14 players can definitely relate. I advise rushing towards him since you can deal extra damage while he does this mechanic. The next attack would be a strong quick AoE Sword Flurries. This is probably the hardest attack to avoid since it can be cast by Lucilius pretty quickly. Look carefully as Lucilius starts to release a red glow or aura and emit a bright red light, signaling players to dodge. If you're not confident in perfectly dodging this attack, disengage immediately from him. I'm trying to learn this attack as well, and I tried to block this attack like many times, but my guard breaks every time, so I tend to rely on dodging the attack. Moving on to the next attack, which is Sword Projectiles. He rarely does this attack, and at least from our experience, but so far it's there. This attack will let his sword target an entity and pierce it with his sword, and if the sword hits the ground, it will create a mini fissure. Players can easily avoid it by dodging on a safe spot. A very strong attack, but easy to avoid. The next attack on the list is Summon Crystals. Lucilius will summon multiple stationary crystal towers in the arena, which explodes when an entity is nearby. To avoid this, simply don't go near any of these crystal towers and you will be fine. However, be mindful of these towers as there are times that Lucilius will locate himself near these crystals. It is likely that you will be unintentionally push over it and activate these crystals. The last normal attack on the list is the Laser Cleave. We've already seen this attack from Bahamut Versa, but this time it is much faster. Time in your dodge carefully since this attack will sweep the whole arena, one-shotting players in the field. Now that the normal attacks are out of the way, let's move on to his major mechanics. When Lucilius' health reaches 80 to 85%, he will do his second major mechanic, which is the 7 trumpets. It is divided into 3 different phases, and the first one is punishment phase. The whole 7 trumpet mechanic seems really confusing at first, especially if you notice the icons below the punishment attack gauge. To simply put, these are just the orders of Lucilius' 7 trumpets phases, so you can basically ignore this and focus on the mechanics. So to deal with the punishment mechanic, just pick a color of your choice when the mechanic starts, and afterwards, more of the same color that you have chosen will start to appear, and you need to chase and step on them as soon as possible while dodging the moving arena-wide ring attack. Avoid the purple or dead colored circles to avoid receiving damage, and just focus on the chosen color. Do this 4 times and you and your party will be able to clear this mechanic easily. Another tip is to observe where the circles are traveling, so it is ideal to go into the opposite direction to easily catch these circles. Next on the punishment phase is the Holy Wings phase. Hit any of the colored center orbs, and then the chosen orb will now scatter through the small ones, and you just need to find all of it and destroy these orbs while dodging the laser beams around you. The laser can easily be dodged by looking at the laser pre-laid paths. Do this tactic in the succeeding orbs and you will clear this mechanic in no time. Now that the Holy Wings phase is out of the way, it is time for the Trinity Terror phase. Lucilius will summon 3 swords and each of them has different attack animations. What we usually do is to focus fire or concentrate on a single weapon for faster clear time. Each sword has its own AoE visual signal so you can easily dodge them. That's all of the phases of the 7 trumpets. Note that if your party failed to do any of the mechanics mentioned, Lucilius will debuff the whole party with maximum HP cuts, meaning all of the party members will have lower max HP, so the fight will surely be harder. Now as for the final phase, it will be close with a Paradise Lost. Lucilius will try to unleash the second Paradise Lost, but this time, player needs to do an overburst, meaning a full chain burst with Sandalphon to stop the Paradise Lost completely and deal extra damage. If the party manages to pull off an overburst, Sandalphon will trigger a cool cutscene and also deal extra damage to Lucilius. This is a very cool cutscene and this is one of my favorite parts of the fight. However, if the party was not able to do an overburst, use something like Vayne's Rampart or manually dodge to survive the Paradise Lost. However, it will be difficult and possibly can lead to huge losses. After the cool cutscenes, Lucilius will now back into dealing with normal attacks. This is the time when players will be able to deal heavy damage to Lucilius, and in our case, this is where our Relink time usually activates so we can easily lower his health to 60%. Lowering down Lucilius' HP to 60% will force him to change to his second form, giving him access to new set of mechanics. But before the next step, if you are into straight to the point guides, tips and tricks like this one, or just love Japanese role-playing games or RPG games in general, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and it will surely help me a lot. Join our Discord server as we are building an empire where we can help each other. Now back to the guide. After changing to his second form, he will then cast Final Rebellion, where he will summon homing puddles and lasers to damage you and your party members. To survive this, dodge the homing puddles and lasers by moving around. Time in your dodges carefully and avoid stepping on purple goose on the ground since it will inflict slow. This is pretty hectic at first, but once you get around it, it will be much easier. Lucilius will then finish the mechanic by throwing a large energy ball on the arena, reminding me of Goku. Dodge this by standing on the outside most of the arena to avoid the energy ball's AoE damage and simply jumping to avoid the incoming ground shockwave. Note that the purple goose on the ground will explode as well after the shockwave passes, so make sure you stay away from these purple goose. After the first Final Rebellion mechanic, Lucilius will then start doing his normal attacks again, and this is where players can lower his health even further. We notice that there is a chance that Lucilius will cast the third Paradise Lost here when having 50% HP or below. What we usually do is ready at least 2 chain bursts to be able to cancel it, or else you will be dealing with it again. When trying to lower Lucilius' health down to 30%, there will be a second Final Rebellion. Just repeat the mechanics and you will do fine. After surviving the second Final Rebellion and lowering down Lucilius' health to 20%, this is where he will do his final major mechanic, which is the Gopherwood Arc, where he will blitz across the arena, but as endgame players, these attacks are pretty much already familiar as we have seen it in Ido's fight. It's just more hectic and much faster, and make sure to avoid the line AoEs to survive straightforwardly. After the Gopherwood arc, Lucilius will now deal normal attacks once again while also trying to cast another Paradise Lost around 15% health. In our case, we usually at least have one SBA charge in here to stop him from casting. So make sure your party can at least do one SBA burst here to really cancel out the Paradise Lost. After successfully halting the last Paradise Lost, and as with any other major fights, Lucilius will do a damage check mechanic which is called the end. There is no issue bursting this guy down, however be mindful of his swords which will try to damage you and your party members during this mechanic. Burst Lucilius down and get that sweet clear after this enrage phase. I had fun learning this guy, and I am aware that there are a lot of amazing strats out there that I have missed, and this is rather a rough guide to help new players to get them ready for this big fight. If I miss a strat, comment down below and let me know how your progress so far with Lucilius. If you're a newbie and want to start your Relink journey today, click this video to have the best start possible, and I will catch you on the next one.